Sports Professor Rick Horrow. Welcome to another edition of Beyond the Scoreboard, the serious show that doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's $1 trillion sports business, and we're now in the NFL playoffs. We are now focused on the NHL getting ready for their 100th anniversary centennial celebration at the All-Star Game in Los Angeles, ready for the NBA All-Star Game in New Orleans in the middle of February. NASCAR starting up with the surprising resignation of Carl Edwards, and obviously NFL football playoff games here in New England personally to freeze and watch that game and watch the crescendo of the NFL heading to Super Bowl 51 in Houston. We're focusing primarily on an economic retrospective, college football, national championship. Many, many, many winners. The overnights were tremendous for the game of the century. Whether you agree or not, it's certainly empirically justified with the numbers that existed. A 26 rating, 22 average for the three games, including the semifinals on New Year's Eve with a blowout, which are pretty good numbers, and a 9% increase over last year. The digital numbers, about 450,000 regulars, nearly 1.5 million uniques, which is huge, and 200 million hours of watching these games. We don't know what the numbers really mean yet, but Madison Avenue will certainly crank those up. And as far as timing, certainly, and Tampa, etc., the economic impact of the game for the region, 2 weeks of nonstop mention of Tampa, $200 million to be sure, but their ability to put on a mega event, non-paralleled since the Super Bowl. Yeah, about $6 million each to the participants that are selected in the semis from the College Football Championship Series. But that, of course, doesn't include the $2 million extra for Alabama and Clemson for the final game and the economics for Tampa. Too many bowls? Not so fast. 40 plus 1, over $4 billion of economic activity during all of those games. We are now set for the NFL Championship Series, but obviously college football, whether it's 2 or 4 or 6 or 14 or 16, the playoffs are here to stay. And New Dimension, we've had a special treat with a number of people who were giving us their perspective on the game about an hour before the championship started at Raymond James Stadium. All for you coming up right now. Rick Horrow, Beyond the Scoreboard.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number.
Call 877-499-MY-TV.
The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money.
Call 877-499-MY-TV.
Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $24.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows. Pause and rewind live TV. Even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $24.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card.
Call 877-499-MY-TV. That's 877-499-MY-TV.
Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more.
Call now, 877-499-MY-TV. That's 877-499-MY-TV.
Rebuild or replace transmission, $3,200. Anti-lock brake system, $1,000. Rebuild or replace engine, $2,400. Truth is, once your manufacturer's warranty runs out, it's all on you. Every last cent. Get protection for covered repairs with a vehicle service contract from Toco Warranty. Unlike other companies, with Toco, there's no down payment, and the monthly payments are really affordable. Not sure how long you're keeping your car? At Toco, you can pay as you go. Keep your hard-earned cash and call Toco Warranty right now at 800-222-2313 to save big money on covered auto repairs. Prices vary by vehicle, but for about the cost of a tank of gas per month, a Toco plan has your back on expensive covered car repairs. Monthly payments are very affordable. Get your free quote now. Call Toco at 800-222-2313. That's 800-222-2313. 800-222-2313. Cancellation fee may apply. Subject to eligibility. Not available in Missouri and Washington. Waiting period and deductible apply. Coverage provided and administered by Warrantech Corporation or its affiliates. Not affiliated with any manufacturer or dealership. Visit TocoWarranty.com for complete terms and conditions.
Blood pressure tends to run higher during the day and lower during nighttime sleep. However, many with high blood pressure don't exhibit this nighttime dip, a condition called non-dipping. More in today's AARP health tip after this.
At Walgreens, getting diabetes testing supplies with Medicare Part B is a walk in the park. Really. Because getting what you need is quick and easy, giving you more time for other things. There's $0 out of pocket on all major brands like AccuCheck and Walgreens TrueMetrics, and no extra paperwork. So managing diabetes becomes a stroll down Easy Street, or a trip to the movies, or even a day at the beach. Talk to your pharmacist today. Walgreens, at the corner of happy and healthy.
Zero out-of-pocket cost when billed to Medicare and full coverage supplemental insurance.
Non-dipping is a major risk factor for stroke, heart attack, and kidney disease. But studies show taking one or more of your prescribed blood pressure medications just before bedtime significantly decreases the risk. Of course, never change the timing of your medications without first consulting your doctor. For more, go to aarp.org.
Sports professor Rick Horrow keeping score in the boardroom. For an international audience, many of you may not know about college football, but all of you know about what it takes to put on mega events and the economic impact about it. We also have a system that has evolved from time to time in the United States over the last few years. A lot of discussion about playoffs. We're having food wheeled in front of us as we talk. It's some kind of an intelligence test. If I could talk through this without stopping, and here we go. We are in the bottom across from the Media Center at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, about 2 hours before the national championship game between the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Clemson Tigers. We're going to have a whole host of people representing a number of different things. But the first conversation we need to have is Bill Hancock, the executive director of the college football playoff system. What's the official title? What's the official
college
entity?
Football playoff. Period.
College football playoff period, ladies and gentlemen. It is difficult, and I'm only cynical about this from one perspective. We've had the Bowl Coalition. We've had the Bowl Alliance. We've had the BCS. We've had 3 polls. We've had polls vote for the loser of a game to be the national champion. Now we've injected a level of certainty, because if you're number 5, you claim to be shortchanged. It used to be, if you're number 3, you claim to be shortchanged. You've made a lot of progress. How do you feel about the system now?
We have a great system now. We're delighted with what we have. It did evolve. It evolved from the old bowl system where there was no guarantee that number 1 and number 2 would ever play. And then we went to the BCS when 1 and 2 played, and now we got a little tournament with 4 teams, and it's awesome.
You've got a little tournament with 4 teams and a heck of a lot of television money. And so the bottom line is you are an event that is clearly made for TV, but it's also made to capture the passion of the American football fan, isn't it?
Yeah, it does. It brings a great culmination to the season. Where there is a national champion crowned. 4 groups of athletes get to participate in something that they'll remember the rest of their lives. And there'll be 70,000 fans out here tonight that'll remember this the rest of their lives.
Economics of putting this together, when you look at the contracts that had to be aligned, sponsor contracts, bowl contracts, major bowls, rotating bowls, as a lawyer, it's a lawyer. Pay the lawyers, right? I mean, that's the bottom line. It was a legal nightmare.
We kept the lawyers' business here. We have a primary contract with ESPN to televise the games. Then we have contracts with each of the bowl games that host the semifinals. There's 6 of those on a rotating basis, so they host once every 3 years. And then we have a contract with the championship game site, like we have in Tampa this year. The first 6 sites have been named. We obviously played in Dallas the first year, Phoenix the second year, and then year 4 is in Atlanta, and we go to Santa Clara in California, and then back to New Orleans.
So the way you rotate the semis and the finals in an integrated package is masterful. Obviously, there is a bid process as well, but you don't really leave anybody unhappy, do you?
There's a bid process. We have many cities in the USA that want to participate in this, want to be the host of this. The 6 that host the semifinals are contracted for a fair amount of time, so those contracts are done. But in a couple of years, we'll be looking for more championship game sites, and we'll start all over again on that.
Let's talk about another issue that's relevant in a broader context. A lot of people, uninformed in my opinion, 41 bowls, too many bowls, not appropriate. They'll point to the Mississippi States at 6 and 7 and say that's not right. What say you?
Too many bowls for whom?
Yeah, right.
Not too many bowls for the teams, for the athletes that get to participate. They enjoy the bowl opportunity. They get a chance to play one more game. You know, the other thing about the bowl games is they lead to intersectional matchups that wouldn't happen otherwise. Boise State and Baylor are not going to play if there's not a bowl system. Florida State and Michigan get to play because there's a bowl system. Auburn, Oklahoma get to play because there's a bowl system. It's a very cool way to end the season.
So where does it go now? Crystal ball. Everybody asks, kind of in an ignorant way, everybody asks 4 teams, 8 teams, 6, 16. Where's it going?
4 is the number. 4, we have contracted with 4 for 12 years, 9 more years. 4 is the number because it lets us keep the regular season relevant. Unlike other sports, we've decided not to put all the marbles in the postseason, but keep some of the focus on the regular season. You have to earn your way into this. It's not an all-comers meet. And so I don't think I can't imagine our leadership doing anything to hurt the regular season.
Who gets out ahead of the next round of reconfiguration? Is it the Power 5 becoming the Power 4? Is it the other conferences wanting in? Is it you keep the status quo until someone tells you otherwise?
Well, the thing is, all 10 conferences are eligible to play in this. There's no automatic qualification. We have a selection committee of 13 people, as you know, who make the decisions and play a good schedule, win your games, and you're going to be in the hunt for this.
Do you intend to maximize revenue by selling the transcripts of those heated debates in the selection committee?
We're going to sell the transcript of this interview before we do that.
All right. Well, you'll get some money for that. But if you want to really go far, the selection committee generally, in all seriousness, has been viewed with the integrity that's deserved, probably because of the people that's on it. Hey, you feel very comfortable with where it's gone and where it's going?
Yeah, we do. When we created the playoff, I don't think we did anything more important than to select this high-integrity group of people to serve on the selection committee. You might disagree with their decisions, but you cannot question their integrity. So we're in a very good place with that group.
I hear there's a rumor that you're now going to put out the hypothetical rankings for 52 straight weeks, starting right after this. Who's going to be there next year? Everybody talks about it,
well,
no matter what.
Get ready tomorrow morning. There will be some ranking. First preseason ranking will be out.
That's Hancock's idea. One more final question. If you had to do over again, what's the one thing you would do differently?
You know what? I get asked that a lot, and my answer is always the same. I really can't think of anything we'd do differently. We've got the right number of teams. We've got the right selection method. Good way to select the host cities. I wouldn't do anything different.
You know, part of me at the last question was going to be a wise ass and get something in your background that either favored Alabama or Clemson and asked if you're biased or not. Should I go there?
No, and now there's some people coming by with little wheel carts that even if I gave you a cool answer, no one would be able to hear it.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's the pull that this guy has over this particular game. He can wheel out the pull carts on demand. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Thanks again. Next victim, Ricky Davis to some of his friends. Thank you, my friend. Really appreciate
tough,
that.
Rick. He's mean.
Yeah. Get ready.
I've known him for a long
as
time.
As we're doing this, Kimberly. No. Did I say Kimberly? Kaylin? Haley. No, you know why? Because my eyes. Haley,
no, you're getting old.
Haley Dudley is our executive producer. Okay, Florida State grad, Florida State person, Illinois State person. Don't hold it against her, but she's been doing a marvelous job. And if this shakes a little bit, either because Rick Davis bores the heck out of her, or because she's getting a little tired. So here's the deal with Ricky Davis. He's been a really good friend. He goes by Rick now as he becomes more of a corporate maven in Birmingham.
That's right.
And he was the co-captain with Sylvester Croom of the 1974 Alabama Crimson Tide. He was drafted by the Buccaneers what round?
No, the Bengals. Drafted by the Bengals
in the 32nd round.
No, it was the 8th round. They only were 17. Only had 17
rounds, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
Today they have 7. He was drafted in the 8th round. What does
so
that
I would
tell
have been
you?
drafted today.
Wouldn't it? But, and by the way, I've played tennis with him. He is one of the slowest safeties in the history of professional football.
Well,
but in all seriousness, and then we'll get real, he was on that 0-14 Tampa Bay Buccaneer team when John McKay
Coach
said,
McKay.
"Were you?"
No. He said.
Go ahead.
He was asked a question at the press conference, Coach, how do you feel about your team's execution?
And he said,
I'm all in favor of it.
See,
so
and
that was how bad we were.
That's the greatest line in the history of major college sports.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Coach McKay.
Haley, what do you think? Right? Yeah. Greatest line in the history of major sports. So, all right, in all seriousness, you're here supporting the Crimson Tide. You've been a Tide guy. And just, by the way, before I even start about the brand, talk about Bear Bryant, talk about the legacy, and also talk about what he's left you. I mean, he basically gave you scholarships that paid for your kids' education.
Well, he did, and you can't do that anymore. The NCAA won't let you do it.
Which is amazing.
It is, but Coach Bryant started provided scholarships for the players, the children of players that played for him. And then Paul Bryant Jr. continued that, and it's continued it to today. And it wasn't just limited to players, but it was equipment managers, trainers, and all the people that were associated with the football program.
Stick with us. When we return, more Rick Horrow Beyond the Scoreboard's live broadcast from last week's national championship game.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for prescription drugs? Well, we have great news. Now you can finally get prescription drugs at huge discounts from Canada Drug Center. That's right, the most popular drugs for cholesterol, high blood pressure, depression, diabetes, arthritis, and many more are now up to 75% off. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices when you can get brand name drugs at the lowest price? Call today and get up to 75% off all the popular brand name prescription drugs. Never pay high prices again. Get the most popular drugs at huge savings from our Canadian and international pharmacies and fulfillment centers. No insurance? No problem. Prices are so low you do not need benefits or insurance to get all your prescriptions fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting to take your call now. Order today and get free shipping. Just call 800-950-1180. Up to 75% off all the popular brand name prescription drugs and free shipping. Call 800-950-1180. That's 800-950-1180.
$100 million in jury verdicts and settlements for serious injury victims, medical malpractice victims, and surviving family members of wrongful death victims. Trial Lawyers for Justice. This is a firm that does not handle frivolous lawsuits. They go after insurance company money, and they're darn good at it. They don't sell their clients out or settle cheaply. Trial Lawyers for Justice, the firm that goes the distance for you, their client. They treat their clients the way you would want your own family members taken care of. Nicholas Rowley, Dominic Pachota, and the other trial lawyers in the firm at Trial Lawyers for Justice, dedicated to representing the people and their families in Iowa, Minnesota, South Dakota, Wisconsin, Illinois, California, Wyoming, and many other states. Trial Lawyers for Justice. $100 million in settlements and jury verdicts already in 2016. 888-811-0844. TL4J.com. Trial Lawyers
calls,
for Justice.
Levies and liens from the IRS or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now, 800-480-5708. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-480-5708. That's 800-480-5708. Again, 800-480-5708.
How's the game changed since '74? And then we'll talk about how Alabama football has changed since '74.
Well, in the 70s, everybody ran the wishbone or the veer, and so you didn't have much of a passing game. It was physical. Coach Bryant had run a pro-style offense in the late 60s, and then they started losing. They had 2 6-5 years, back to back, and he said they're getting soft. So he decided to go to the wishbone. I was a quarterback in high school and went down there thinking I was going to be the next Joe Namath, and was moved to defense first day. But Coach Bryant is a lot like he and Coach Saban are very similar with the way that they do things. They're both. You look at their background. Coach Bryant came from Arkansas, small farm. Yeah. Coach Saban came from West Virginia in a coal mining town. His dad wasn't a coal miner, but he was at a gas station up there. So both of them grew up in similar backgrounds, and they're both very disciplined and attention to detail. Nothing goes unnoticed or unprepared for.
What do you think about the whole discussion and debate about who's the best coach, where's the statue go, Bryant, Saban? Can't we all just get along?
That's what I think. I mean, I was talking to somebody earlier about that today, and I grew up in Bessemer, Alabama, which is 40 minutes from Tuscaloosa, watching Coach Bryant's show every Sunday afternoon on TV. Coach Bryant, I'll always think he's a great coach. It's a different era, though, a different era in the 70s and then this 60s, 70s, and 80s. Coach Saban, I think, is the greatest coach today, and he may, if he wins, tonight, that gives him 6 in a lot shorter time period. Coach Bryant had 6. But it's a different game. There wasn't a playoff back then. I think today these are really true champions. We won a championship my junior year. We were 11-0 regular season, but we lost to Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl 24-23. But the UPI voted before the bowl games. So we won and that's one of the national championships.
That's not fair. Take it away. Take one away. That's not.
Well, but Notre Dame didn't play in bowl games for a long time either.
All right,
add it back. So right. So
that's the issue. The fun thing about that debate is, at least with this playoff system, it's resolved on the field.
And
right?
Listening to your conversation with the head man, I think it is. It's great for college football. It gives you something. You've got a true champion that earns it on the field.
Yeah.
And so tonight, last year Clemson came off the field saying, "Well, we could have won, should have won, all that kind of stuff." Well. The game's over. You didn't win.
Hey.
So you win it on the field.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know where he's from, right? Well, coulda, shoulda. But no, that's the right answer, right?
It is. You win it on the field, and so you can talk about plays that you didn't make, but at the end of the game, you look at the scoreboard, and that's the champion.
Business perspective, you're a well-respected lawyer in Birmingham. You've been with some firms, and you're known in Alabama for business. How important was the Alabama connection to your business success in Birmingham?
It's been good, and people remember the fact that you played at Alabama.
Yeah.
And one part of what I do is I have a lot of coaches that are clients of mine that I represent and help them with their contracts and looking at other job opportunities. But having played for Coach Bryant, I mean, that's kind of one of the first things that anybody that I talk to, that's one of the things. When I played in the NFL coaches would come up and say, "What was it like to play for Coach Bryant?" And so that's just kind of a badge of honor that the former players, guys that played for Coach Bryant, you're proud of that experience.
Look ahead to Alabama made last year $90-some-odd million from the football team alone.
Right.
It's the largest revenue of any college football team in any sport history. What's it like 5 years from now? Look ahead. What's the Alabama football brand look like 5 years from now? Global brand?
Well, I think it already is. I mean, I'm sitting in the hotel in St. Petersburg, Florida last night, and there's University of Alabama, there's an advertisement as far as going to school at Alabama, promoting the University of Alabama in St. Petersburg. And so it is. I mean, it's just like you look at what the university has done as far as from an enrollment standpoint, out-of-state students that are coming to Alabama. In South Florida, our older daughter, we had moved down and we're living in West Palm Beach, and our older daughter goes up there. Our younger daughter went to NYU, but her graduating class at the school where she went, there were 8 or 9 kids there that went to the University of Alabama.
I'm going to ask the governor when he gets here, either as part of this Facebook or a sequential one, who's more important to the state of Alabama, Nick Saban or the head of the chemistry department?
I don't think there's any question. I think you know the answer to that. Yeah.
All right. So I wonder what the governor's going to say. I guess we'll have to figure it out.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah. Well, it's like with Coach Bryant. Everybody, I think George Wallace was a governor back in the late, and I think one of the things that George Wallace was always afraid of was that Coach Bryant was going to run for governor.
Yeah. And he would have been very successful.
Won. Right.
So final question back to your Buccaneer days. What was it like in that locker room 14 straight times?
Yeah, it was hard. I mean, it really was hard. I mean, nobody likes to lose. I mean, even if you're a pro, you're getting paid, but you don't like to lose. I mean, I lost more games my 1 year in Tampa. We lost 6 preseason games and 14 regular season games. That was more games than I lost in my whole career.
And remember, he's coming off of as a national champion
at Alabama.
Safety. Slow safety, but a national champion safety.
But the game was a lot slower back then.
Yeah, that's right. That's fine. And by the way, Tanner, Tanner Simpkins, our other executive producer, you'll show somewhere, and you'll link to it, the pictures that you sent. He's got a Pro Football Weekly from 1976.
It was the year that I was with the Bucs in '76. We played the Bears in preseason, and I had an interception, and the guy who made the tackle was Walter Payton.
Great,
he
but
played the tackle.
The picture that's relevant is everybody who wants to see it will see it. The guy's basically standing on his head.
He flipped me upside down.
Yeah, totally flipped you upside down. So you're not flipped upside down today, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
Really enjoyed it. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
Mike Scherb, next victim. How are we doing with the governor? Do we have a shot? What depends on traffic? The governor, by the way, Governor Bentley, has the ability to stop traffic in Alabama, but not stop traffic in Florida.
Not in Tampa.
We'll try to figure that out.
Very true statement.
Michael Scherb, Dr. Michael Scherb, a dentist of some significant repute, but also the head of the Alumni Association, Palm Beach County.
Yes, sir.
But explain to me the kind of pecking order of the alumni associations all over North America. What does it mean to run one division? Is there a whole bureaucracy involved in it?
Well, we have our local chapter, which answers to our regional chapter, which answers to the national chapter. Primarily, everything is done through the national chapter, and they have been excellent at being able to be a liaison for us, to be able to connect it to the University of Alabama and support us and able to get alumni and people involved in our organization. And being only 2 years old, we've now grown from an organization of 0, because I started the organization, to already an organization that is over 60. So, and that's in 2 short years. They have a watch party this evening, which is going to be excellent down at Buffalo Wild Wings in West Palm Beach, and we've already got 40 people involved in that.
So, do you all have to wear this goofy-looking red stuff?
No, I got this as a gift, and I actually loved it. And as you notice, I have my pins from the national championships, and
a lot of them.
A lot of them. These are only championship pins. And the pins that don't make it are Ohio State didn't make it, Oklahoma. They're sitting in a drawer at home.
Yeah.
But we've been blessed enough to be able to be a part of a lot of different championships over these last 7 years.
God shines brightly on Mike Scherb, by the way, and all of you looking at kind of what to do for next Christmas. If you get stuff like this, throw it out. Give it to your cat. Let your dog eat it. I don't care.
It's all good.
In all seriousness about the fundraising relative to the rest of the program, we talked with Rick about $96 million last year, the highest number ever in the history of a football program in college. How do you all, what's kind of the fundraising, the booster responsibilities? What are you most concerned about? Nick Saban runs a really clean ship relative to keeping a Chinese wall up.
Yes.
So what are the big issues with you guys?
Well, first of all, I just got a report that Bama cleared $130 million in profit and $47 million from the actual football program itself, which was an amazing number when you think about it, small town Alabama. But in relationship to what Saban brings us, he will not allow himself to be a part of actually alumni organizations anymore because it just got to be too political. You know, when he once gave one, everybody wanted him at that particular point in time. So we don't really have hopes that we're going to be able to bring Nick Saban in, but we do have aspirations to bring in other people affiliated with the university that we can bring to our local organizations that help support us and grow our organizations, because the primary reason why we're actually wanting to be a part of the Alumni Association is to grow scholarships for the university. And we have a lot of people in our area that basically support Bama. There's over 500 alumni in our area, and we get a lot of support.
And part of the issue, too, is how you deal in some other cases. If you were at 80% of the colleges around the country, you'd be worried about how to help them satisfy their debt. Big issue about debt and how to avoid it, facilities and the like. Alabama is a giving program, not a receiving program.
Yes.
How important is that?
You know, it's interesting that you bring up the giving versus the receiving, because I look at the endowments that are associated with many of the universities, which are in the multi-billions, and yet the tuitions for these universities are incredibly high, and I just don't see the match between those programs. And it's like, is it their purpose to grow this endowment because they can be number one, or is the purpose of the endowment to be able to support the student to become a better person who can support the country as a whole? So I think Alabama has done a tremendous job of being able to give back, and not only to the local community but to the students as well. So I think it's been a wonderful organization to be a part of.
What's the legacy factor as well? Assuming they win today, we'll know that pretty quickly. But how do you build on all of those national championships and create an even bigger brand from your perspective?
From my perspective, I think that you're looking at a situation where Nick Saban, who has built definitely a dynasty, and of course, whether he wins tonight or not, if you win 5 out of 8, the program will be probably unparalleled And at that particular moment, it's going to be a matter of what does he see as being the next step for him. Having done a lot of research on that, I really think that his next goal, whether he would admit it or not, would be for Nick Saban to try to get the Bud Wilkinson 47 in a row. He would never admit to that, I can guarantee you. But I can guarantee you that in the back of his mind, he's got that somewhere on his own mental sheet. He's, but you got to get through one game at a time.
Stick with us. When we return, more Rick Horrow Beyond the Scoreboard's live broadcast from last week's national championship game.
Now, today's General Steel building tip. Buy a large lot with a friend or family member that can be split into 2 smaller lots. Some of the most appealing properties may be much larger than what you want or can afford. Yet the seller may not be willing to break up a large parcel. So if you can share the costs with someone else, preferably someone you don't mind having as a neighbor, you may be able to pick up a great building site for a reasonable price. And now, a word from General Steel.
This is an alert. If your business or church is building this year, you're about to pay more than you should. This could mean thousands of dollars more for your office, retail space, church, or warehouse. A General Steel building can save you as much as half the cost and time of similar conventional construction. And we're offering rebates of up to $20,000 to help you build today. Call General Steel for free information that could save you thousands. Call 866-95-STEEL. 866-95-STEEL. That's 866-95-STEEL.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 877-663-7126 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 877-663-7126 to take your call now. Call 877-663-7126. That's 877-663-7126. Again, 877-663-7126.
Rebuild or replace transmission, $3,200. Anti-lock brake system, $1,000. Rebuild or replace engine, $2,400. Truth is, once your manufacturer's warranty runs out, it's all on you. Every last cent. Get protection for covered repairs with a vehicle service contract from Toco Warranty. Unlike other companies, with Toco, there's no down payment, and the monthly payments are really affordable. Not sure how long you're keeping your car? At Toco, you can pay as you go. Keep your hard-earned cash and call Toco Warranty right now at 800-222-2313 to save big money on covered auto repairs. Prices vary by vehicle, but for about the cost of a tank of gas per month, a Toco plan has your back on expensive covered car repairs. Monthly payments are very affordable. Get your free quote now. Call Toco at 800-222-2313. That's 800-222-2313. 800-222-2313. Cancellation fee may apply, subject to eligibility. Not available in Missouri and Washington. Waiting period and deductible apply. Coverage provided and administered by Warrantech Corporation or its affiliates. Not affiliated with any manufacturer or dealership. Visit TocoWarranty.com for complete terms and conditions.
I'm the sports professor Rick Horrow with Beyond the Scoreboard, a special national championship edition game for the ages. Yeah, it may be the best college football game ever. We don't know, but it's great barroom conversation. The one thing is clear. The economic winners, there are 3. First, television generally. 26 million people from the overnight ratings, about a 22 million average for the 3 games. 2 of them blowouts, a 9% increase over last year, and certainly the bowl system is settling in, people understanding it and watching it, including New Year's Eve games. The average is up. Second, digital. Let me give you the numbers. 120 million minutes, 1.6 million unique viewers, 535,000 average viewers. Trust me, those are big numbers. Madison Avenue will get a handle on those. It'll translate into advertising dollars, and it is big numbers. And finally, the economics for Tampa. They're the winner. 200 million plus economic impact, a great week, but everybody talking about Tampa as the home to one of the biggest national championship epic games ever. The bottom line is you can't buy that publicity. Certainly, when the bowl committee allocates its $6 million for each 4 conferences to cover the expenses of the 4 teams and an extra $2 million for the finals, that doesn't begin to talk about the economic impact and the successes of college football. Bowl Championship Series, Bowl Coalition, Bowl Alliance, the polls, this system is probably here to stay. According to Fox Sports research, there were 10,869 nationally televised sports events last year. Few attract the eyeballs and wallets of the CFP Championship. The Monday night game and the impact, obviously a big topic. Significantly more revenue than the old BCS system, at least double the annual revenue for each of the 10 FBS conferences. Each conference receives about $6 million for each team selected for the semifinals, and each conference whose team participates in the playoff, Cotton, Fiesta, or Peach, and national championship games receive an additional $2.1 million per game to cover expenses. The ESPN broadcast rights deal for the playoffs and each of the 6 associated bowls evaluated about $5.64 billion through 2025, $470 million annually. Championship contenders Alabama and Clemson, 19 million viewers for their respective semifinal games, quickly becoming a mini Super Bowl in terms of widespread interest and economic reach, providing yet more proof people are actually interested in sports more than ever before. Despite all the hoopla surrounding the CFP games, this year's All-State Sugar Bowl wasn't as sweet as in seasons past. One of football's most popular games, the New Orleans matchup between Oklahoma and Auburn, drew the smallest crowd since 1939, only about 54,000 to Mercedes-Benz Superdome. The 2015 game played on New Year's Day between Ole Miss and Oklahoma State, about 72,000 fans. 2016, the first non-sellout since OU Alabama 3 years ago, but that game was close to full. Some upper-level sections of the Superdome left completely empty, but a half-empty stadium certainly doesn't help appearances.
And now, we pick up where we left off from last week's broadcast. Rick Horrow live at the National Championship game.
So before, we're either going to do a little bit of summary or we're going to wait for the governor, depending on your perspective. He's... Oh, okay, good. All right, so they're here. Okay, they're close, meaning close like, in the parking lot. Okay, the governor's in the parking lot. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pan Haley Dudley, executive producer, Florida State University. Why did you transfer from Illinois State to Florida State?
For the program, the sport management program.
The sport management program, by the way, at Florida State is a darn good program.
It is.
Those guys are really good at it. Mm-hmm. And what are you going to do after college?
Hopefully work in sports sales in some capacity.
And be a dynamite camera person. We're going to find out. And, yeah, you're really good. And, by the way, you're not shaking,
I'm not.
Which is different than most of the millennials we've had after a long day. So pan around a little bit and give people a sense of what this is like pregame. Are you leaving? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate it. Okay.
I want to do a photo bomb. I've already been there. Ricky, drive safely.
Man, see you later. So we're about an hour and a half away from the game, 2 hours away from the game. This is everybody kind of getting ready. It's media center over there, Clemson locker room right there.
Yep.
Clemson locker room right there. Alabama does Alabama have locker room, or do they dress out in a tent?
They use the cheerleaders.
That's smart. You talked about focus earlier, but obviously not. So Alabama over here. So as you're panning, let me just give you some perspective as we're waiting for the governor. But I think it's also important to understand, Nick Saban, by the way, okay, I'll see you a little later. I'll call you. Nick Saban's salary is a little less than $7 million. It's the second highest in the country. He's got a bonus of $700,000. Last year his pay was $7.9 million. It was the highest ever to be paid to a college football coach. Mr. Corso, hi. Rick Horrow, how are you, sir? Nice to see you. Wow. Okay. Good. Awesome. Sir, Rick Horrow, how are you?
How you doing?
Governor, nice to see you.
See you.
Was that applause for the governor? Because that was on the other side of the wall.
I don't think it was.
You have the ability to come into a building and people don't even know you're here, and yet they give you a standing O.
I think that had something to do with Alabama football team. I'm not sure.
It might be Alabama football team. It might be Clemson football team. Thank you all very much for doing this. This is for Reuters and NBC and others who will look at the business of sports. And you have a different headset on because obviously everybody loves Alabama and they will wear their emotion on their sleeve today. But football's big business and football is big branding. Tell us how big the brand of Alabama football is in your circles.
Well, one of the things that it does, it helps the school grow. Every...
Would you
I'd be glad.
Favor me with that?
Yeah, I'd be glad to.
I'm not very bright at that.
How about that?
How's that? Okay, everybody good?
Yeah.
That sound better?
Yeah.
Good.
One of the things it does, when you have a number one football team or a good program, it really helps the school. It helps the city that the school is located in. I actually think it helps us recruit industries. I was talking to a company this morning in Huntsville, and I won't mention their names, but they were talking about Alabama football.
Yeah.
And they're a foreign company, and so I think that it helps us helps people recognize the state. I think they see quality in what Coach Saban is doing,
right.
and I think it makes a difference.
So Governor Robert Bentley has been the governor of Alabama for
6 years.
6 years. That's 2 terms.
That's right.
And you're intending to be there for a long time in business in any context. But the question, I guess, the big question would be awareness, PR, value. From a business perspective, you have a PR tourism board. They try to quantify mentions. If you were to put the mention of Alabama football in the same headset and say we're going to pay for those mentions astronomically, you really couldn't do it.
No, you really could not.
Yeah, it's a big...
It's been that way for a long time at Alabama, but I think it's more so now than it's ever been. Yeah. I do.
Question for you about priorities. Probably not going to answer this because of your position. So Nick Saban makes about $8 million, and he is very important to the state. Is Nick Saban more important than the head of the University of Alabama Department of Physics or Psychiatry or Chemistry? Or how important is Nick Saban in the pantheon of educators in the state of Alabama?
Well, I think I don't think you can truly quantify what he's worth. Right. I think that the publicity that we get, the positive publicity that we get in Alabama from a number one football team, I'm not sure that you can measure that except anecdotally. Yeah. I'm not sure that we can measure it in dollars. In fact, I know we can't. But I do know that we have almost 38,000 students now at the University of Alabama. That is a tremendous economic boost to Tuscaloosa and to the state itself. And it's just the publicity. It's the national image and national publicity for the state. I think one of the things that Coach Saban does is he puts a special emphasis on our student athletes graduating. And I think coming down here playing in this game, I think I heard him say that there were 21 graduates and 3 who had a master's that'll be playing tonight.
It's an excellent legacy. There is something you can quantify, and just react to this from a business perspective. The revenues from last year that were published said that the University of Alabama's football team was the highest revenue produced by a football team, any revenue ever in the country, and I'm sure more and more every year. What's it like to preside over a public institution where the football team is actually a giving program instead of a receiving program? It actually helps, subsidize is the wrong word, but it helps generate some support for a lot of other things on campus, correct?
Well, it does. It's more for publicity, though, than anything else, because The program itself is a separate program from the University of Alabama. It is a separate entity. Now, it gives money to the University of Alabama, right. But it is a separate entity.
So what happens when you go to the Alabama-Auburn game? Are you politically neutral?
I'm an Alabama fan.
All right. Is it pretty clear? Everybody know that?
They do know it. But I will say this. The people at Auburn are extremely nice to me. And I love Auburn. I'm the chairman of the Board of Trustees at Auburn. I'm the chairman of the Board of Trustees at the University of Alabama. And I will say that the people at Auburn could not be nicer to me. But they know, I don't think you can be political and say, well, I'm going to cheer for both sides. I graduated from the University of Alabama. I was Coach Bryant's doctor. I love the University of Alabama, and I'm an Alabama fan.
Ladies and gentlemen, in an era where we need it, a straight-talking politician. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
really
sir.
appreciate
Thank
it,
you,
sir. Thank you, security detail, for not shooting me. Thank you, everybody, for what we just did. How about that for a last minute? You're about to hear my numbers before the governor, and now we're going to conclude with the numbers. We were talking as the governor. That's why. How much? Okay. All right. So the bottom line of all of this is Nick Saban, very important to the program. Let's not ignore Clemson, big economic impact in the state. Let's not ignore the economic impact of the city of Tampa and Tampa Bay, $100 million or more. So when the game goes to different locations, the Georgia Dome, the places that it's going to be going in the future, let's also understand that this is a festival. It's a testament to college football. Mr. Hancock said that. Rick Davis talked about the legacy. Mike Sherb talked about the dollars and what could be generated. And obviously the governor talking about some things that you never heard from anybody else in a position to do that. Awareness, positive publicity. All in all, a great event, great national championship.
A new dimension, we've had a special treat with a number of people who were giving us their perspective on the game about an hour before the championship started at Raymond James Stadium. Bill Hancock, the head of the college football playoff company, entity, he's the guy that creates all of this. Alabama Governor Robert Bentley, happy about the game, happy about the impact, obviously the interview beforehand. Rick Davis, a member of the 1974 Alabama team, co-captain with Sylvester Croom. He also was a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, starting free safety for that 0-14 John McKay. Yeah, I want them executed. Actually, I like their execution. There's a little more of his line. But he has some interesting perspective. And Mike Sherb, the head of the Alumni Association for the University of Alabama in South Florida, tied into a national network. The interviews done before the national championship game, but all a different perspective. The playoffs, the politics, the economics, and the difference in college football. Rick Horrow, Beyond the Scoreboard.
We all know healthcare has changed drastically. It's quite the puzzle to sort through your options and find a health insurance plan that's affordable and maximizes your benefits. And you're now required by law to have health insurance, or you may pay a tax penalty. So let the Health Markets Insurance Agency help you. They offer plans from over 120 different companies and can even help you obtain government subsidies. Let them do all the research for you and show you how affordable health insurance can be, a service that's at no extra cost to you. Call now and learn your options to find affordable health insurance. 800-614-1242. 800-614-1242, 800-614-1242, 800-614-1242. Health Markets Insurance Agency is a DBA or assumed name of Inspire Insurance Solutions, Inc., which is a licensed insurance agency in all 50 states and D.C. Not all agents are licensed to sell all products. Service availability varies by state.
Attention, if you've had hip replacement surgery and suffered any complications, you need to listen to this important legal alert. Major manufacturers have made billions of dollars available to award legal claims for defective hip implants. Thousands of these defective hip implants have been recalled by various manufacturers. If you've had hip surgery and suffered complications, you may be entitled to receive significant compensation to help you deal with your complications. You may be eligible to receive money to help with medical expenses, lost wages, stitches and pain and suffering. Protect yourself by hiring an experienced trial attorney. Our partner law firms are experts in hip replacement surgery lawsuits. Find out now if you're eligible to receive any of the $2.5 billion hip settlement fund. Call now for free information. 800-296-1360. 800-296-1360. 800-296-1360. That's 800-296-1360.
Blood pressure tends to run higher during the day and lower during nighttime sleep. However, many with high blood pressure don't exhibit this nighttime dip, a condition called non-dipping. More in today's AARP health tip after this.
At Walgreens, getting diabetes testing supplies with Medicare Part B is a walk in the park. Really. Because getting what you need is quick and easy, giving you more time for other things. There's $0 out of pocket on all major brands like Accu-Check and Walgreens TrueMetrics, and no extra paperwork. So managing diabetes becomes a stroll down Easy Street, or a trip to the movies, or even a day at the beach. Talk to your pharmacist today. Walgreens, at the corner of happy and healthy.
Zero out-of-pocket cost when billed to Medicare and full coverage supplemental insurance.
Non-dipping is a major risk factor for stroke, heart attack, and kidney disease. But studies show taking one or more of your prescribed blood pressure medications just before bedtime significantly decreases the risk. Of course, never change the timing of your medications without first consulting your doctor. For more, go to aarp.org.
Sports professor Rick Horrow, Beyond the Scoreboard, trillion-dollar sports business. The bottom line of all of this is it's a very, very significant time for all sports, professional and college, heading into probably even the better months for ratings, for viewership, for digital, for the events themselves. Now it's time for Bust, Boom, and Hope. The bad, the good, and the creative in the economy, starting with Bust. The New England Revolution in search of a soccer-specific home stadium in Boston for years now, but a final plan still appears to be out of sight. And my take is the Kraft family looked long and hard for appropriate stadium solutions, using the successful model of Foxborough, Gillette, and Patriot Place as a guide. Hopefully, something will be done quickly. We'll just have to see. How about boom? Passing with unanimous favor, FIFA voted to expand the World Cup field from 32 to 46, starting in 2026, and the new format expected to generate about $1 billion extra for the governing body, the World Cup alone. Critics slam President Gianni Infantino for making a selfish move to deepen his personal pockets, as well as those of everyone else in soccer's main governing body. My take is that while any tinkering has its critics, kudos to Infantino for attempting to shake up the World Cup format and also to increase global participation to an unprecedented scale. And finally, hope. Speaking of world events, new economic study commissioned by LA 2024, the Summer Olympics would generate as much as $11.2 billion in economic output for the city and region of LA. A huge selling point for LA's hopeful bid to land the Olympics is that the city plans on using existing arenas and stadiums throughout the Southern California area. And while some question these civic studies, arguing that they're self-serving, for the most part, this one reflects the tremendous economic potential the games will have for the region. Most studies also ignore the positive branding, public relations, and international awareness benefits that come to a region after hosting a 2-week mega event. Decision time next summer. That'll do it for Beyond the Scoreboard this week. I'd like to thank Bill Hancock, the author and implementer of the playoff system, Alabama Governor Robert Bentley, Ricky Davis, and Mike Sherb for making this a unique retrospective on college football. And next week, on to pro football. Join us once again when we go Beyond the Scoreboard.